You
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening. My screen is visible. Okay. Everyone, please mute yourself. Let's start. Good evening, everyone. My name is Khushbu. I'm your PMRF TA for the course Introductory Organic Chemistry 2. The course instructor for this course are Professor Rija Dashaputre and Professor Harinath Chakrapani from ICER Pune. So in this week, we will study about most of the condensation reactions and some like how conjugate addition will take place. Up to now, we have already studied about 1,2 addition. Now we will switch our topic from 1,2 to 1,4. So let's start. So we already know that the carbonyl carbon or the carbonyl compound can act as electrophile as well as nucleophile. They will act as electrophile through the carbonyl carbon that is having a polarization, and that makes the carbon of the carbonyl carbon electrophilic. Now, in case of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compounds, if we are reacting it with sodium cyanate and hydrogen cyanide, now the important factor that you have to see is the temperature. If we are doing this reaction at 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, then your carbonyl carbon is electrophilic enough, and at a like at lower temperature 1,2 addition will be favorable. So your cyanide will attack the carbonyl carbon and you will get this tertiary alcohol. Now if we will do the same reaction with butyl grignard, then quenching it with water, in this case also we will get this tertiary alcohol. For the proof that this tertiary alcohol is forming and not 1,4 addition is taking place, IR plays an important role. Now, in this case, we will get a broad band at 3600, corresponding to the alcohol present in the molecules in both the cases. Then 2250 corresponds to the peak of the nitrile in IR, and 1650 weak band will tell us that alkene is there in this molecule. And as there is no absorption near 1700, so this suggests that carbonyl carbon that was present in the starting material is now dissolved. Similar for the second case. But if we will do these two reactions in presence of some copper catalyst or at higher temperature, in that case, IR values suggest that at 2250 nitrile is there. It is still there. But 1715 we will get one more peak that is corresponding to the carbonyl carbon that was already there in the starting material. So in this case at 80 degrees Celsius, if we are changing the temperature, then your nucleophile is attacking in 1,4 fashion rather than 1,2 fashion. And as there is no absorption peak at 3600, this is clear indication that alcohol is not forming in this case. And your carbonyl is as such, just your nitrile is attacking at the 1,4 position and you will get the product. Similarly, Grignard, butyl Grignard in the presence of copper chloride will form a other Gilman reagent that will attack 1,4 in 1,4 fashion, and you will get peak at 1710 corresponding to the carbonyl compound, and your alkene is taking part in the reaction, not the carbonyl compound. And how we can say, in the form of arrow pushing mechanism, we can say that nitrile, or we can say the nucleophile, if it is attacking at 1,2 position, that means the carbonyl. We are giving one position to the oxygen and two position to the carbonyl. Then this is 3 and this is 4. So if attack is taking place at 1 2, that is direct addition. So direct addition to the carbonyl compound leads to the formation of a tertiary allylic alcohol. So you will get here tertiary allylic alcohol. And if it undergoes 1,4 addition, that we also called as Michael addition or conjugate addition. So in this case, your nucleophile is attacking at fourth position, and then enolate will generate, that we have already aware of as we discussed in the last class. And then while quenching it, it will take the proton and you will get this 1,4 addition product. Is this clear? What is the difference between direct addition and the conjugate addition?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, in the second reaction where the higher temperature and any copper catalyst is been taken,
Yeah.
ma'am, the product A and B are.
Okay. So in this, this is your A product here, and then in the case of this butyl, here N butyl group will come. Your whatever copper species will generate, that will attack at 1,4 fashion, and this position like enolate will form. Mechanism is same, just it will quenched by the proton that is provided by water. And here it is cyanide at 1,4 addition. Now it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now our alkenes that are conjugated with the carbonyl compound, it become polarized, and it become polarized at the beta position. If we will see the conjugate structure of this resonance structure of this alpha beta unsaturated compound, then we will come to know that beta is having the positive charge and oxygen is having the negative charge, and oxygen is having negative charge, or it is taking the negative charge on itself because of the electronegativity factors. And then the nucleophile whatever is approaching, that is the soft nucleophile, it will approach the beta carbon and not the carbonyl carbon. And it based on the conditions that will decide whether the nucleophile is going to attack in the 1,2 fashion or the 1,4 fashion is the temperature that will decide. At higher temperature, 1,4 addition is favored, at lower temperature, 1,2 addition is favored. Then the type of nucleophile that we are using is also deciding factor, is also one of the deciding factors that will decide whether the attack will take place in 1,4 or 1,2 fashion, that we will see in the further slides. Before that, how we will come to know that this polarization is achieved in this alpha beta unsaturated compound? So, for that, the proof is given by IR spectroscopy. In case of your alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, so this is comprised of a ketone, and the alkene. If we will consider simple ketone, it will come or absorbs at 17-15 centimeter inverse. But in case of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, this carbonyl absorption is taking place at 1675 centimeter inverse. And the unconjugated alkene will come around 1650 centimeter inverse, and in unsaturated one, it will come at 16-15 centimeter inverse. So the decrease in absorption values is suggesting that the carbonyl or the carbon oxygen or carbon carbon pi bond that is stable in the unconjugated case now is like that bond is losing its strength because of the conjugation. So that's why the this absorption is coming at the lower frequency than at the unconjugated cases. And if we will consider the carbon 13 spectra of these compounds, in that case also, if a simple alkene, if we are considering, in that case, your carbon that is beta is this carbon, junction carbon, will come at 132. Now it is de-shielded. So this de-shieldedness tells us that positive charge is coming at that center. And the positive charge will come only if the conjugated structure or the resonance structures having or create the positive charge at the beta position. So this uh, de-shieldedness is also the factor that is telling us that the positive charge is coming at the beta position. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us discuss about the molecular orbitals, how they are controlling the conjugate additions. So if we will consider when nucleophile is attacking the electrophile, so nucleophiles HOMO and electrophile LUMO will interact with each other, right? So in the case of if this methoxide is nucleophile, so it's HOMO we will consider, and in case of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound, we will consider the this is the electrophile, so we will consider its LUMO. How we can find out the different or energies in this case? So if we will compare butadiene with acrolein, that is the alpha beta unsaturated aldehyde, so in this case we will come to know because of the presence of the carbonyl group in the case of acrolein, energies will decrease because any electronegative group if we are adding, then the molecular orbitals energies will decrease. So in case of butadiene, where your where your LUMO is this orbital, and in the case of acrolein this is your LUMO, and in case of LUMO your more or larger coefficient of home LUMO is lying at beta position. That means this beta position is more electrophilic as compared to the other positions in the acrolein. So from this molecular orbital diagram, it is clear that beta position is highly polarized and nucleophile will approach the this acrolein at the beta position rather than the 1,2 addition. So when your nucleophile will approach the LUMO, then a new so HOMO is sp3 and LUMO. So one new sigma bond is forming, and so enolate will generate first, and then you will get the new sigma bond. Now let us discuss about the reaction conditions. So we discussed one condition is the temperature. So in this case, at 5 to 10 degrees Celsius, you will get the 1,2 addition product, and at 80 degrees Celsius, you will get the 1,4 addition product. Instead of this, what are the other conditions that will control this 1,2 and 1,4 addition product? Now we will discuss about that. This alpha beta unsaturated ketone, when it is reacting with nitrile, so in 1,2 addition product, it will form this cyanohydride. That is the kinetic product. Why it is kinetic product? Because it is forming fast. And if it undergoes a slow addition but irreversible addition in the 1,4 fashion or conjugate addition, then it will form this thermodynamic product that is more stable. So the kinetic and thermodynamic product, the product that will form faster is the kinetic product, and the product that is formed or that is more stable is the thermodynamic product. So the conditions that will decide whether the kinetic product will form are your kinetic control conditions, and the conditions that will decide the thermodynamic product will form are the thermodynamic control. So let us consider one more example. If you have this alpha beta unsaturated ketone and in the presence of HCN and KCN, now consider temperature that we are doing this reaction is 160 degrees Celsius. So it must undergo 1,4 addition. So your nitrile will attack in 1,4 fashion, enolate will form, it will revert back to take proton at the alpha position, and you will get this addition product. And yield is also prominent yields they will get in this condition. Now, what is the difference between the 1,2 addition and 1,4 addition product? Now, let us consider that this is your LUMO, and we have a partial positive charge at the beta position and partial positive charge at the carbonyl center. So, two electrophilic centers are there in the molecule. Now, if we have 1,2 addition product, so in this case, instead of carbon carbon, one pi bond we are breaking and two sigma bonds we are forming. in case of 1,2 addition. So the the pi bond that is losing is the carbon oxygen pi bond that is having higher energy than the two sigma bonds that is formed in the reaction. So that's why it is not stable, because we are breaking a more energy bond and we are forming two less energies bond. In the case of this 1,4 addition, we are for breaking the carbon carbon bond, pi bond, that is having lesser energy, and we are forming two sigma bonds that are having higher energy than the carbon carbon pi bond. So that's why your 1,4 addition product is stable product, and your 1,2 addition product is the kinetic product that is forming faster. So I hope this one is clear. Any doubt in
Yes,
this?
ma'am.
Okay. Now next we will discuss about the nucleophiles. There are two type of nucleophiles. One is hard and one is soft. And how this hard and soft nucleophile will decide whether they will go with whether they will undergo addition in the 1,2 fashion or the 1,4 fashion. So let us consider this alpha beta unsaturated ketone, and we are treating it with thiophenol at 25 degrees Celsius for 5 hours. So this thiophenol, now we are not doing reaction at very much higher temperature, but in this case it is undergoing 1,4 addition. So the best nucleophile that can do conjugate addition are your thiols, and the yield is 94%. Now, the nucleophile, or the attraction between the nucleophile and the electrophile will decide, or the gap between the HOMO and LUMO will decide whether the 1,2 addition will take place or 1,4 addition will take place. Now, whatever the nucleophiles or whatever the anions that are small in size and having electron density concentrated at one position, those nucleophiles we will called at as hard nucleophile, and these hard nucleophile will react at the hard electrophile, that is the carbonyl carbon, because of the presence of oxygen attached to the carbon in the carbonyl carbon, your carbon has the more less electron density than the oxygen, so it will react in the 1,2 fashion, 1,2 addition. And the bigger nucleophiles that are having less electron density, we will call it as soft nucleophiles, and they will do 1,4 addition. Examples are given in this table, that fluoride, hydroxide, alkoxide, water, alcohol, ammonia, grignard, alkyl lithium, these will attack in the 1,2 fashion. Whether if we have thiols or I negative, RS negative, or alkenes, aromatics, or even your cuprates, they will react in the 1,4 fashion. Now, let us discuss about the copper compounds. So, if we have a alpha beta unsaturated ketone and we are treating it with methyl grignard in the presence of diethyl ether as the solvent, so as we saw in previously, that methyl grignard is a hard nucleophile. So, it will undergo 1,2 addition. So, we will get this 43% yield of this tertiary alcohol, tertiary allylic alcohol. But along with this, we are getting major amount of the dehydration product. Now, in this like that Grignard is attacking in the 1,2 fashion, but after dehydration, you will get this other product also. Then, if we are treating this compound alpha beta unsaturated ketone with methyl Grignard in the presence of copper salt, and they are using 0.01 equivalents, that means it is the catalytic amount. So in this case, your 1,4 addition product is major product. And again, in this case also some amount of lesser amount of dehydration product is also forming. Now let us discuss more about it, how this transformation is taking place. So when your methyl grignard is reacting with copper chloride, so the first reaction is taking place is the transmetallation. Transmetallation is the exchange of ligands between the two metal complexes. So in this case, your copper chloride. So chloride is connected to the copper, and after the reaction, your Grignard magnesium will take this chloride, and copper will take the methyl. So the methyl copper species will form. This is like there is no proof for this methyl copper formation to take place, but like logical thinking will tell that this is the case. So now, after the formation of this methyl copper species, this will undergo, and now copper species is soft nucleophile, so it will attack in the 1,4 fashion. After 1,4 fashion, it will attack. So O negative salt is forming, and this CuCl is we are getting back. So that means copper one we can reuse. So that's why it is using in the catalytic amount. And after neutral workup, we will get this ketone. Also, when you are treating with your copper bromide with the organolithium compounds, in that case also it will generate this lithium cuprate reagent that will undergo 1,4 addition. So to make your Grignard reagent a soft nucleophile, we can do that reaction in the presence of some copper salt.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am, here, when the hydration is taking place, ma'am, what is happening there that we are again getting the double bond?
ketone. So this water it will take the proton. So you will get this OH. Enol will form, and enol is tautomerized to ketone.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please show that slide where hard nucleophiles and soft nucleophiles were written? I just want to see that because I'm getting confused.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, we need to learn these nucleophiles
Like
in order to get which reaction is going to proceed.
when you will like when you will read about the reactions, you will see these. So you will get some idea. And based on size also you can remember that if the nucleophile is or more electronegative ones, like fluoride is electronegative, hydroxide oxygen is electronegative, so those will be hard nucleophile, they will do undergo 1,2 addition. And in the other nucleophiles that are having bigger size, like iodide or your sulfur is there, those are having bigger size, so electron density will be dispersed, so they are not that much reactive, that's why they are soft.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Understood, ma'am.
So these are the examples. Your organo this sorry lithium copper reagent will react in the 1,4 fashion. So phenyl copper species is there, so it will attack, and then enolate will generate first, then it will revert back to take the proton from alpha position, so you will get this product. Similarly, if you are using instead of phenyl, here they are using butyl. So your lithium copper bromide first 1,4 addition will take place, enolate will form. Now, if we are using this trimethyl chloride, so in this case, your oxygen and silicon they are forming a strong bond. So oxygen will attack the silicon and your leaving group will leave. So here it is forming OTMS. Enol OTMS. And in the acidic condition, your TM silyl group is deprotecting. So it is forming again enol, that is tautomerizing to aldehyde. So in the acidic condition, again you are getting enol, and this is tautomerizing to aldehyde. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So if we are considering conjugate addition or versus direct addition, so first the reaction condition, higher temperature will favor conjugate addition, and the lower temperature will favor, and short reaction time will favor direct addition. Then if you have unreactive carbonyl groups like amide or ester, they will undergo conjugate addition. And if you have aldehydes or acyl chloride, they will prefer to undergo 1,2 addition. Then, if we are using soft nucleophile, that undergoes 1,4 addition, and hard nucleophiles undergo 1,2 addition. Organocopper reagents will undergo 1,4 addition, and Grignards or organolithium compounds they will undergo 1,2 addition. So this is the summary. Now let's move on to the next part, that is the alkylation of enols and enolates. We have already discussed how we are generating enols and enolates. So when your carbonyl compound is acting as the electrophile, then your nucleophile is approaching the carbonyl carbon, and after the abstraction of proton, it will form this alcohol. Whereas If your new base will take the alpha proton, then in that case enolate will generate, and if it get protonated, you will get enol, and after reverting back you will get the ketone back. In this case electrophile will add. So some synthetic equivalents we have already discussed for the enols. One of them is the lithium enolates, and how it is generating if we are treating our carbonyl compounds with LDA. LDA is lithium diisopropyl amine, that is formed by the combination of diisopropyl amine and N-butyl lithium in THF at 0 degrees Celsius. So you will get this lithium diisopropyl amine. Your butyl lithium butane will release, it will take the proton from here, negative charge will come at nitrogen, and this negative charge will coordinate with the lithium positive present in the system, so it will form this LDA. LDA is a bulky base because of the presence of two bulky isopropyl groups. Now it will take proton from the alpha position and it can't undergo 1-2 addition. So this enolate will generate. And now after the abstraction of proton, your O negative as it is generated, so it will coordinate with the lithium. So this is your lithium enolate. Similarly, if we have, this is the case of esters. Now in case of ketone, we have two sites where this lithium enolate will form. Now, LDA is a bulky base. So, if we are using a bulky base in case of ketones, you will get a less substituted enolate because bulky base can't approach the more hindered site and abstract the proton. So, in that case, you will get the less substituted lithium enolate. And lithium enolates can react with alkyl halides, so this bond will shift here and the alkene will attack the methyl iodide, and I negative will leave, so you will get this lithium iodide and this alpha alkylated product. Similarly, the lithium enolate generated from the ketone that can also undergo alkylation in the similar fashion, and you will get lithium iodide and alpha alkylated product. Typically, all these LDAs reaction or wherever we are using butyl lithium, very like these reactions are very much exothermic and sorry, not exothermic. These reactions will need a lower temperature because all these are, we will try to do the reactions at the slower rate so that kinetic product we will not get and we will get the thermodynamic product. So let us discuss about the alkylation of ketones. So when we are using LDA, so this proton it will take from the less hindered side and enolate will generate. Then it will revert back and your new it will attack the methyl iodide and I negative will leave. So you will get this alpha alkylated product. Clear?
Ma'am, once again, can you please explain? And also regarding kinetic product and thermodynamic product, ma'am, on the basis of temperature, which one will undergo 1, 2, and 1, 4?
Like if generally we will see, we will that at higher temperature your thermodynamic product will form, but we will not consider like if some for some reaction your RT is higher temperature, in that condition your thermodynamic product you will get. So at lower temperature you will get the kinetic product. For some reaction minus 78 degrees Celsius itself is like a higher temperature and you will get thermodynamic product at that. So this is the relative term we are telling. So if lower temperature we are doing the reaction, then you will get the kinetic product. If that temperature is minus 90 degrees Celsius, that means relative to that minus 90, we are considering that minus 78 is the higher temperature. Okay, this is confusion to most of the students that we are telling higher temperature, we will get the thermodynamic product. But that higher temperature we are telling with respect to the temperature at which kinetic product is forming.
Yes, ma'am.
So at lower temperature, kinetic product, and at higher temperature, thermodynamic product.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So LDA will take this proton at the alpha position. So after the proton abstraction, I'm writing it as base. it will form this enolate first. So let me write the product, or the intermediate we can say. Now this will react with methyl iodide, and you will get the product, alpha alkylated product. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Then instead of lithium bases, you can use potassium and sodium bases also, like potassium hydride or sodium hydride if you are using in excess. Now, as the size of metal will as we are moving from lithium to sodium to potassium, your metal size is increasing, right? Sorry. So your size of metal is increasing. So as the size of metal will increase, the distance between the anion and this cation will increase. So we can say that reactivity of that nucleophile to react is increasing. But reactivity is increasing, but stability of those enolates will decrease. So if we are considering lithium enolates, they are stable enough, but we can't store them. That they are also unstable. In comparison to lithium enolates, potassium and sodium enolates are very much reactive, very much reactive, but their stability further decreases. So that's why we have to generate them in situ and then use. NaH you can store, like commercially in the oil we will get the solution, but KH, that is like it is difficult to handle it. So in labs also you will not get.
Ma'am, the above reaction, this LDA1, is it related to 1,2 or 1,4 addition?
No, they are just telling us about the reactivity of the lithium enolates and the potassium and sodium enolates.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. LDA is a base. It will not undergo 1,2 or 1,4 addition. It will just abstract the proton.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. So if you are using potassium hydride, that is very much reactive. So it is undergoing the tetra substitution. So this suggests that it is very much reactive, because tetra, we can't able to stop the reaction at the one alkylation. It is undergoing further alkylation to give you the tetra substituted product. Now,
Yes, ma'am.
in case of sodium hydride also, sorry, NaNH2, in this case, one for this alpha proton abstraction is taking place, and then it is attacking the SN2 in the SN2 fashion to this allyl bromide, and you will get this alpha alkylation product. Clear? So lithium enolates we can use to do alpha alkylation. And this topic is different from conjugate and that addition. This is how we can do alkylation of enols and enolates that we are discussing.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so don't get confused. Now we can't use LDA with aldehyde, because aldehyde is very much reactive and it is very much electrophilic. So even we are performing the reaction at minus 78 degrees Celsius, then also the rate of deprotonation is not fast enough that it can, like self condensation product it will form. So if we have any aldehyde, and at alpha position we have this hydrogen, so your LDA will take this proton and it will form the lithium enolate, this O, Li, and this double bond. So it will form this. Once this lithium enolate will form, this will undergo reaction with the aldehyde, self condensation, and you will get this alpha beta hydroxy aldol condensation product. After proton abstraction, it will undergo, it will form alcohol there. Similarly, so for lithium enolates, we should avoid, or we can say that for aldehydes we should avoid using lithium enolates, okay, because they are undergoing self condensation and we don't want self condensation product to take place. So what are the other alternatives we can use for aldehydes or ketones? So to alkylate aldehydes and ketones, we can use enamines or silylenol ethers or azaenolates that are derived from imines, right? Basically we want that after the enolate formation, let it be CH3. After this proton abstraction, it will react with the alkyl halide. And with lithium enolate, this reaction is not possible. So that's why we want some alternative, so that the enolate that is generating, it will react further with the alkyl halide and not with the aldehyde itself. So for that, one of the synthetic equivalent is enamines. And how we are generating it? If we have ketone and we are treating it with pyrrolidine or any secondary amine or primary amine, then it will form first iminium ion. This we saw in the previous class, that if you have the secondary amine and ketone, it will, in the presence of some catalytic amount of acid, so firstly it will form this enamine, or sorry, iminium ion. Then after deprotonation, it will form this enamine. Once this enamine will form, then it can undergo reaction with the alkyl halide. So now your nitrogen lone pair will fall, it will attack the alkyl halide, your X negative will leave. That will take the proton and this enamine will form. Now on hydrolysis, your pyrrolidine will leave and you will get the ketone back. Is this mechanism clear? How we are getting enamine, and then from enamine, after alkylation, how we are getting the product back or ketone back?
Yes, ma'am, clear.
Okay. So other pyrrolidines also we can use, like other secondary amines also we can use, like pyrrolidine, piperidine, morpholine, or like any acyclic secondary amines also we can use. But the cyclic one has an upper hand, because in the cyclic one your substituents is on the one side only, and they will not hinder the path of, like, hinder the reaction pathway. So that's why we are preferring to use the cyclic secondary amines rather than the acyclic one. So if you have ketone and you are treating it with amine in the presence of catalytic amount of acid, so first enamine will generate, that will undergo reaction with the this alpha bromo or alpha halo ketone. In this case, alpha bromo ketone. So again, nitrogen lone pair will fall and this carbon will attack in the SN2 fashion, and you will get this product. Clear? So the problem
Ma'am,
that
once again, can you please explain this reaction? This.
uh, see, we have this ketone. So firstly, it will react with the secondary amine. So iminium ion will form first. N, R, R, H, or this positive. Then this proton transfer will take place, and it will take place from the less hindered side, because if proton will go from this side, then your enamine has to react with the other species also. That will, it will not undergo. Okay. So from the less hindered side, your enamine will form. After the formation of enamine, it will react with alpha halo ketone. So this nitrogen lone pair will fall, and this is attacking in the SN2 fashion to remove the bromide ion. So you will get here N, R, R. This is double bond, positive charge. This is CH2, CH2, C double bond O, PH. Now after hydrolysis, you will get the ketone back. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then azainolates will react with a wide range of SN2 reactive electrophiles. So if we have ketone and we are treating it with primary amine, so imine will form. And this imine, in the presence of base, it will generate the azainolate. Like base will take the proton from here, and nitrogen is having the negative charge. Your azainolate is just the substitute of your this enolates. In enolates we have oxygen having the negative charge. In azienolate, we have nitrogen having the negative charge in that place. And this is very much highly nucleophilic, but it will not undergo self condensation. So the problems where that we are facing with aldehydes, that it undergoes um, that self condensation is solved now. Whereas if you are having aldehyde and you are treating it with base, so you will get this enolate, and enolates can undergo self condensation. So one of the substitute that we can use to stop this self condensation is the use of your enolate, this azienolates. Then this is the another example that you have aldehyde, you have amine, and after the formation of this imine, then you have, for generating the, if you are using bulky amines, like in this case you are using tert butyl amine, or in the, or we can use cyclohexylamine also. If you are using bulky amines, in that case we should use stronger base like LDA or Grignard reagent that can deprotonate it, and you will generate the aza-enolate. Okay, so for generating aza-enolate of bulky amines, we will use a strong base so that it can abstract the proton next to the imine. So after generation of this aza-enolate, it can react with any aryl chloride or aryl halide or alkyl halide. So you will get this imine, and then after hydrolysis you will get the aldehyde back. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The next is, if you are using, instead of azienolates, if you are using silyl enol ethers. Now, if when we are discussing about lithium enolates or when we are discussing about azienolates, then they are undergoing SN2 reaction, or they are doing alkylation within the SN2 fashion. But your silyl enol ethers, they will undergo alkylation in by a SN1 like pathway. So if and how this will generate, so you have a tertiary alkyl chloride, and you are treating it with TiCl4. So what it will do, it will take the chlorine and you will get the tertiary carbocation. Then your silyl enol ether is there, it can react with this tertiary carbocation, and after the loss of this silyl group by the attack of chloride, you will get your ketone. So in this case, first carbocation is generating and then your silyl ether is attacking. Whereas in the previous cases, aza-enolates, first aza-enolate will form and then it is reacting in the same step in the SN2 fashion to remove the leaving. So this you should remember, that silyl ethers react or undergo alkylation by SN1 pathway, and your aza-enolates or lithium enolates, that will undergo this alkylation using a SN2
SN2
pathway.
mechanism.
Yeah. Similar example, you have ketone. You are treating it with base. So base will take the proton. It will generate the enolate. Your enolate will take the attack on the silicon. Chloride will leave. So you will get this silyl enol ether. Then you have TiCl4. You have a tertiary alkyl chloride. Then first carbocation will generate, and then your silyl enol ether will react at this carbocation to form this product. Clear? So,
Yes, ma'am.
so lithium enolates and azienolates will react in the SN2 fashion, and silyl enol ethers will react in the SN1 fashion. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let us discuss about alkylation of beta dicarbonyl compounds. So, beta dicarbonyl compounds, you have to make the this CH2 very much acidic. pK is around 10 to 15. So even a very weak base like ethoxide can remove this proton. You don't need very strong bases to abstract the proton from the 1,3 dicarbonyl compounds. These are called as active methylene compounds. So this is the active methylene position that can be deprotonated by the weak base. So alkylation of 1,3-dicarbonyl compound or beta dicarbonyl compound. So if we are treating it with K2CO3, so it will take the proton and it will react with methyl iodide to form this this alkylated product. These are the delocalized enolate that is making them more stable. So for malonic acid, like when you have two acids attached to methylene position, or you have two esters attached to methylene position, or one side acid, one side ketone, or one side acid, one side ester, one side ketone, these can undergo alkylation in the same fashion. The base that we have to decide is, if you are using diethyl malonate, then ethoxide you should use. You can't use methoxide, because in that case your methoxide can attack the ester also, and it will form it can undergo transesterification. So to stop the transesterification, we will use the same sort of alkoxide that is there in the ester. This you have to keep in mind. Other thing, whatever, like mechanism is same as we saw in the above case. Okay, so to stop transesterification you have to use the same alkoxide. Other things are similar. So if we have diethyl malonate, we are using sodium ethoxide in the ethanol. So once it is forming, it will react with the allyl chloride, and then you will get the product. Similarly, at this position, an ion will generate, and this will attack the alkyl bromide, and you will get the product. Now, when you have beta keto ester, then the ester can undergo decarboxylation if you are doing the reaction in the acidic medium. So you have this ester and you are treating it with base. So first it will form acid, and the acid is like that proton abstraction was taken by base, so you will get this carboxylate ion. Once this carboxylate ion will form, then in the presence of acid, you will get this keto acid, beta keto acid. So the ketone will take the proton from acid, CO2 will release, and you will get the enol. And enol, keto tautomerism is already we are aware about, so we will get the ketone back. So whenever you have a beta keto ester, on hydrolysis it will give acid, and on decarboxylation we will get the ketone. Clear?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, I'm unable to understand the second reaction,
This one.
ethyl acetoacetate one. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So first proton ethoxide will take the proton. This will undergo enolate formation. So this enolate will
Yes, ma'am.
generate. Then
Till here understood.
when this enolate will revert back, it will attack the alkyl this bromide in SN2 fashion. So then you will get this product. Clear?
Ma'am, then what about the oxygen? One more oxygen?
Which oxygen you are telling about?
Ma'am, one carbonyl group we are having.
And one in the ester.
Okay, okay. It is ETO. Okay, okay.
Yeah, this is
Understood.
ester.
Okay, okay. Esther understood, ma'am. That is written in short, so I was just seeing for the double bond. Okay, ma'am.
So if you have this diester attached to the methylene carbon, then if you are using excess base, so first enolate will generate. Let me write the enolate first. So here we have this, I am writing in short only. So base will take the proton and enolate will generate. I am writing it as R. So this will form this enolate. After that, you have this alkyl bromide. So this enolate will attack this position and bromide will go. So you will get this double bond O, ET, and here this is CH2, CH2, Br. Again, base we are using in excess, so again enolate will generate proton abstraction from this place, then it can attack at this position to leave this group. Sorry, I'm missing one carbon. So this is forming the four membered ring. So you have this. So whenever you have active methylene compound and you are using a di-bromo compound, then it can undergo cyclization, or cyclized product you can get. Now, after getting this diester, what they are doing, they are treating it with NaOH. So NaOH, what it will do? It will convert the ester to acid. And after that, they are treating it with HCl. So once diacid is forming, so one undergo decarboxylation to give you this monoacid product. Here you have C double bond O, OH, and C double OH, double bond O. So this oxygen will take the proton, this will CO2 will leave, and then this enol is there. So enol tautomerizes to ketone. So you will get the carboxylic acid back. Clear?
Ma'am, till the normal condition where the base is present, I have understood. But when excess condition is applied, ma'am, can you explain from that situation?
Okay. See, here we are using excess base, right? So one alkylation is clear, that first
Yes,
alkylation.
ma'am.
Then you have excess base, and again your active methylene proton is very much acidic. So base will take the proton one more time, and then it will form this enolate, and then it undergo another SN2 reaction with this alkyl bromide, that is now intramolecular. First one is intermolecular. Now this is intramolecular to form this four membered ring. Fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, can ester is converted to carboxylic acid in just presence of heat and base?
No, no, no. In present, like if you are heating at excess, like at very much high temperature, then it can happen. At RT, it is not possible. You need some acid catalyst.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. Then ketone alkylation is also poses a problem in the regioselectivity. When we have ketones, then there are two alpha positions, right? So your if in the ketone if only one enolizable proton was there, then then it is not a problem. But if your both protons can be abstracted by the base, then if you are using bulky bases, in that case less substituted side enolate is the major one. And if you are using small bases, then the more substituted side enolate is the major product. In those cases you will get the regioisomeric products. Regioisomers, where we have two sites of reaction, or two sites where new base can attack, and from those two possibilities you will get the two products. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Now let us discuss about thermodynamically controlled enolate and then kinetic enolate. See, in this case we have this ketone and we have this ester. Now, one of the proton adjacent to a ketone is this one, and other one is the active methylene one. So, this green hydrogens are very much acidic because the enolate that is generating is stabilized by the resonance with the ester also, right? So, if we are treating it with base, weak base, then we will get the more stable enolate. More stable enolate. That is the only product that you will get. You will not get the less substituted one in this case. So if we have this ketone and we are treating it with KH, and this whenever you have this beta active methylene compounds, then it is like less possible to stop the reaction at the mono substituted product. So after getting this product, again this proton is acidic, so base will take the proton, and another alkylation will give you this other product. Then they are using base to hydrolyze the ester to acid, and HCl and heat to get the decarboxylated product. Clear? So again, here KH is the base, that is a small base, hydride is a very small base, so it can form the conjugated, or we can say this more substituted enolate. Then it can take proton from the less substituted side also, that is the other case. But you will get the major product from the more stable enolate, that is the more substituted one. The similar case we can see with the silyl enol ethers also. So if you have this ketone and you are treating it with base, so you will get the more substituted side, or proton abstraction will take place from the more substituted side. After proton abstraction, you will get this silyl enol ether that will react with, or if methyl lithium will react with silicon to give you the lithium enolate. This is the pure thermodynamic enolate. Why we are telling thermodynamic? Because more stable alkene is forming, more substituted alkene is more stable, so this is more substituted alkene, so that's why it is thermodynamic enolate. And how it will react? So you have this silyl ketone, oxygen will coordinate with silicon, so electrophilicity of this carbon will increase, so base will take the proton from the more substituted side to form the more stable carbocation, and then you will get this more substituted silylenol ether. So major product we will get from the more substituted one, and less substituted will give the minor product. Then when we can form the kinetically controlled enolates. So if we are using bulky bases, KH is the weak, like sorry, KH is the small base, so it can form the more substituted side enolate. But if you are using LDA, LDA has two isopropyl groups, bulky isopropyl groups, so it can't take proton from the more substituted side. So in this case, we are getting the less substituted enolate, that is less stable enolate, but that enolate will form faster. That's why we are saying this is the kinetic enolate. So if you have two substitution site, one is less substituted and one is more substituted. If you are using a small base, it will undergo the formation of thermodynamic stable enolate, and if you are using a bulky base, it will undergo the formation of less substituted enolate. I hope this is clear. So here also LDA will take the proton from the less substituted side, and then this lithium enolate will react with alkyl halide, and you will get this product. Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This we already discussed. Now let us discuss about the condensation reactions. So the first is Claisen ester condensation reaction. Condensation of two esters to get the beta keto ester as the compound major product. So you have this ester and you are treating it with base. So base, what it will do? It will take the proton alpha to the S carbonyl carbon, and this enolate will generate. Now, once this enolate will generate, you have unsubstituted or unenolized esters in the system. So this enolate will react with that ester carbonyl carbon to form, and then after this removal of this ethoxide, you will get the beta keto ester. Now, after the beta keto ester formation, you should check that one proton should be there at active methylene site, so that the reaction is not reversible. To make it irreversible, this proton should be here. Some of the examples we will see where the reaction will not work. So the complete condensation is ester you are taking, you are treating it with some base, enolate will form. After proton abstraction, it will form the beta keto ester. This is alpha, this is beta. Beta keto ester. Okay, this is the general way of showing this. Whenever you have an ester group or some uh, R can be a ketone or one ester that can also undergo reaction, same sort of reaction. So when some leaving group should be there in the group that is reacting in the second place, and then you will get the beta keto esters or diketone compound also. So this is the mechanism. Now let us discuss about the Claisen condensation between ketones and esters. So here you have ketone and here you have this ester. When you are treating it with base, so only ketone position is enolizable and this is symmetrical one. So any one, like only one enolate is possible. So this will form, so base will take the proton and enolate will generate first. So this enolate we will generate. Then it will attack the ester, carbonyl carbon. And one OAT will leave. So you will get the, at beta position, ester will come. So you will get this product. Now we have this ketone and we are treating it with this ester. This again C double bond O, O, E, T, O, E, T. Now, you have two positions where enolate can generate. One is A and one is B. Among A and B, which one is less hindered?
Ma'am, A side.
A side. So that side, stable, kinetic enolate will generate, right? And base will take the proton from A side and then it is attacking at this carbonyl carbon to form this product. Now, this base can abstract this proton, so stable enolate is generating. So we will get this only product. But if the enolate will generate at B position, then you will get this enolate. Now, once after the reaction, this it will attack the carbonyl carbon and one OET will leave, you will get this product. Now here alpha this at active methylene position, no hydrogen is there. So it can't form stable enolate. So that's why this enolate will not generate. Okay, so two factors are there in the ester Claisen condensation between ketones or esters, or between esters and esters. First, after the product formation you must have one hydrogen that can undergo enolate formation, stable enolate formation. And secondly, hindered position, if that anion is generating at the hindered position or hindered carbon, then attack at the carbonyl carbon is less feasible. Clear?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
Ma'am, there was a reaction in the previous slides where NaOH and HCl was used. Ma'am, a previous slide. Ma'am, one more. I think this one or one more previous slide was there when
Hydrolysis you are asking about?
this one. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, this basic thing I have not understood. This how NaOH and then HCl is acting in this.
You have ester. Ester hydrolysis in base will give you acid, right? So I can write you will form this acid, diacid, in the presence of NaOH. NaOH is OH negative, hydroxide ion. And in ester,
Yes.
you have a leaving group. So hydroxide will attack and leaving group will leave. So you will get this acid, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So after formation of this acid, HCl is there. So it will get protonated. One of the acid will get protonated. Both can protonate. So we can say that this is forming. And other C double bond O, OH is there. Let us suppose this get protonated. Now oxygen can take this proton, this CO2 will leave and you will get the one acid only. So in the, if you have ester in the molecule and you are treating it with base and then HCl, so it can undergo decarboxylation in the presence of diacids.
Yes, ma'am. This one only was the problem that how one carboxyl group is missing.
And now it is clear.
Clear, ma'am. Clear, ma'am.
So now let us discuss about intramolecular crossed Claisen ester condensation. So if you have ketone and ester, the part of the same molecule. Then base can abstract the proton from the less hindered side. It will not take proton from the more hindered side. Then that enolate, whatever is generating, is attacking at the ester, and you will get this product. How? So this 5-membered ring is there, and here you have ester. This methyl is there, hydrogen, and here we have this enolate that is generating. Now after that, this is attacking at the carbonyl carbon. It will revert back to give you this compound. Is this clear? So in the intramolecular intramolecular Claisen ester condensation, you have to consider the ring size also. Like in this case, this is enolized alpha position. This is also alpha proton is there, but after reaction, we don't have any enolizable active methylene site or hydrogen. So this is not the product. Only this is the major product.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. In this case also, you have this one side, this two side, and this three side. First of all, ester electrophilicity or alpha position next to ester is less electrophilic, so only ketone will form the enolate. Now in this case, this alpha position, green one, will undergo 5-membered ring formation in the fused manner, and fused rings are more stable than that of the bridged ring system. So that's why this fused ring system is forming, not the bridged one. Okay. If anion is generating at this position, orange position, and it is attacking at this ester, then bridged system will form. That is not stable.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then next reaction that we have to discuss is Robinson annihilation. Robinson annihilation is the reaction of active methylene compound with alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. So in that case, first Michael addition will take place, and then aldol in intramolecular aldol reaction will take place to give the major product. Okay. So firstly, base will take this proton. It will undergo attack in the 1,4 fashion. So you will get this product. And then it is intramolecular aldol reaction from the less substituted site. So you will get this alpha beta unsaturated ketone. Mechanism, let us see. So base will take the proton, alpha proton, between the two carbonyl carbons, and then it is attacking in 1,4 fashion with the other alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound in the system. Then enolate will generate. It will revert back to take the proton from the base, and you will get this triketone, this one. Then again base is there, so it will take the proton from the less substituted side and attack the carbonyl carbon. So this hydroxyl group will generate. Then again base will undergo the elimination of hydroxide group in the E1CB through the E1CB mechanism. This we already discussed in the aldol reaction class, that if base is there, it will undergo elimination through the E1CB mechanism. But if acid is there, it will undergo through the E2 elimination. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then next is stop condensation, where you have doing reaction between ketone and ester of diester of salicylic acid. So base, what it will do, it will take the proton from any of the alpha position. So then that anion will react with the carbonyl carbon, and you will get this alkoxide ion. Then you have O negative and esters in the same system. So O negative will attack the carbonyl carbon of the ester, leaving group will leave, and you will get this ketone. Then whatever this ethoxide is generating, now next to ester is the acidic proton. So this will take the proton, and this lactone is opening to give you the this alkylated product. So you will get this alkylated diester. Okay, these are the name reactions that you like. Name, if you are forgetting, then try to remember the mechanism. What is the mechanistic step, how you will push the arrows to, so that you will get up to the product. Is this clear? Okay, any doubt is there? Let's move on to the next one. Then we have Novengel reaction. So in this case, you have a diester and you are treating it with aldehyde in the presence of base or some amount of acid. Then in this case also you will get this alkylated diester compound. Again, base is there, you have an active methylene compound. So first proton abstraction will take place. So you will get this enolate of diethyl malonate, or we can say it can exist in the form of enol. Base will take the proton from the enol. In that case also your same enolate will generate. After this formation, this enolate will react with the aldehyde. Then this alkoxide ion, whatever is generating, it will take the proton from the acid, and you will get this aldol intermediate. Now, acid is there in the system, and base is also there. So in the like excess, we are using base. So in the even through the even CB mechanism, this elimination is taking place, and you will get this unsaturated product. Similar sort of reaction is your Darzin's reaction, where you have alpha haloester. Alpha haloester, on reacting with base in the presence of some carbonyl compound, it will also undergo condensation. So what will happen? Base will take the alpha proton, enolate will generate, it will react with ketone present in the system, and then your now you have a leaving group alpha to the alkoxide position. So your alkoxide will attack the alpha carbon, chloride will leave, and you will get this alpha beta epoxy ester. Alpha beta epoxy ester. This is the major product. Then the next reaction that we have to discuss is Henry reaction. Henry reaction is the reaction of ketones with nitromethanes. How we will generate this nitro alkene? So you have nitromethane, and we are treating it with base. So base will take the alpha proton, and then enolization will take place. Enolate will generate. So this is your nitroalkene. Now, once this nitroalkene will generate, it will react with the carbonyl carbon. Then O negative will generate, it will take the proton. So in this case, you will get the alpha nitro alcohols. Alpha nitro alcohols. So the reaction of ketone with nitroalkene is known as Henry reaction. Next is Stork-Enamine reaction. Reaction of ketone or with um, amine, secondary amines in the presence of alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound. By seeing only, we can see that we have ketone, we have secondary amine. So first the formation of enamine will take place. So first step is the formation of enamine. So you have ketone, you have secondary amine, enamine will form. First iminium ion will form, then proton. Here first iminium ion will form, and then after deprotonation it will form this enamine. Then it will undergo reaction with alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound in 1,4 fashion, and after 1,4 addition you will get this or we can say alkoxide ion. It will take, and this is enolate. Enolate will tautomerize to ketone, and then hydrolysis of enamine will give you ketone back. Then the last condensation is benzoin condensation. That is the condensation of two benzaldehydes in the presence of nitrile and water ethanol. That will give you the benzoin alpha hydroxy beta keto compound. So in this case, your nitrile will attack the benzaldehyde. O negative will generate, that will take the proton from water, and then OH will generate there. So this is cyanohydrin. After the formation of cyanohydrin, base will take the proton that is next to cyanide, that is acidic. And after the formation of this, then it will, that negative anion that is generating is stabilized by the conjugation with the nitrile. Then this nucleophilic carbon of this nitrile enolate will react with aldehyde, and then after proton abstraction it will form this cyanohydrin. Again, base will take the proton from the hydroxide because no other acidic proton was there in the system. Then alkoxide will revert back to remove the nitrile, and you will get this benzoin compound.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I have a confusion from nitrile enolate. Once again, can you please explain from that?
Okay. So you have this OH, double bond C, double bond N negative. This is nitrile enolate. So this nitrogen electron, this negative will fall, and this carbon will attack with the carbonyl carbon of the benzaldehyde, and alkoxide will form. So this alkoxide will form here. Sorry. This one, this alkoxide will form after attack of this nitrile enolate to this carbonyl carbon, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So then it will take the proton, and then base hydroxide whatever is releasing, it will take proton from the hydroxyl group, because now here at this position no alpha hydrogen is there, right? In the previous
Yes, ma'am.
case, when your nitrile is generating, base is taking the proton from here because that is acidic proton. Now no acidic proton was there, only OH proton is acidic, that is next to the nitrile. So it will take this proton, and then elimination of nitrile will give you this benzoin product.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's start questions. Question 1. Given the pKa values of the following compounds, here you have given pKa 9, 25, 16, 30. You have to find out that if we have this 1, 2, 3, 4 alpha beta unsaturated compound corresponding to those compounds whose pKa value is given to you, you have to find out in which case nucleophile will undergo 1 for addition faster, and in which case it will undergo 1 for addition slower. Think about it. Now, let us write the anions first. I'm writing here only directly. So, the alpha protons is acidic. Here we have this anion, then this, and this. Now, which anion is the most stable anion?
Ma'am, first one.
First one, right? So, it is the most stable one. That means the alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl compound corresponding to it is the most reactive one for the 1 for addition, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So first is most reactive. Then let us compare the other three. If we have the second one, here this negative charge is in conjugation with the carbonyl carbon of the ester. In the third one, it is conjugated with the ketone, and in the fourth one, it is conjugated with the amide. Now, among ester, ketone, and amide, which one is more electrophilic? Carbonyl carbon of ester, ketone, or amide, which one is more electrophilic? Here you have CF3, that is pushing the
Then
electron,
this one.
right? So this is the most electrophilic after the this active methylene compound, right?
Yes,
So, and its pK value is also suggesting that lower the pKa, more is the acidity. pKa decreases, acidity increases. So this is the, after that pKa 16. So this will undergo 1,4 addition little faster than the other two. Now, after that, ester and amine, nitrogen or oxygen, which will give electron density more?
nitrogen.
Nitrogen. That's why its pK is higher than the esters. So the reactivity is then
One,
second,
3, 2, 4.
correct. 1, 3, 2, 4. C option. Clear?
Yes.
Okay. Then, which of the following nucleophiles will give 1,4 addition with pentane 3 in 2 on? 1,4 addition, you have to decide on the basis of,
Copper.
correct, copper one. This is the soft nucleophile. Others are hard nucleophile.
Hard nucleophiles.
So it is undergoing 1,4 addition here. Correct. Then, in this case, you have to find out the major product. First of all, decide here this is the alpha proton, here this is the alpha proton. Which proton, A or B, will be abstracted?
Ma'am, A.
A.
Right? It is active methylene compound. So we can
Yes.
write, after the proton abstraction, base will take this proton, it will form this enolate. So here we have, and this ester. Now this will attack in 1,4 fashion, and this will we will get. So how much membered ring? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 membered ring is forming, and here we have this ketone. Let us number. So we will write this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is my 1 where your ester is attached. At carbon number 2, ketone is there, and at carbon number 6, you have this CH2, C double bond O, Me, this one. Then it will take the proton, so ester will form. So you will get ketone, here it is ester, and this is CH2, CO2, Me. Clear? So the correct option is option B. Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Then next is, choose the correct main product formed from the following reaction. Similar reaction it is. It first, proton abstraction from the active methylene compound, 1,4 addition, then this enolate will generate. So let us write, this is ester, this, and then we have here CH2, C double bond O, CH3. I'm not writing enolate, I'm just after enolization this will form. Is this clear? Now you
Yes,
have
ma'am.
HCl. For what purpose we will use HCl?
Ma'am,
NaOET and HCl will form NaO.
decarboxylation.
Right, decarboxylation. So after decarboxylation, you will get hydrogen here. So the product formed is option D. Clear? Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then you have to find out A. Again, this is which name reaction? Robinson annulation. So base will take the proton first, conjugate addition will take place. I'm not writing the mechanism, you all are aware of. So after, it will form this CH2, C double bond O, CH3. Then after that, this enolate, it will generate, base is there, then it is attacking at this position, it will undergo aldol reaction. So it will form the 6-membered ring. Here we have ketone, and here we have this ketone and hydroxy. This is beta hydroxy compound. Then through even CB mechanism, it will form this alpha beta unsaturated compound. So the correct option is option B. Sorry, we have methyl group also. Option A. Here we have methyl group. This methyl is there. Here. So the correct option is option A. It is simple Robinson annulation reaction. Okay. Which of the following reactions does not indicate the correct main product? You have ketone, you have amine. In the presence of acid, it will form enamine.
Yes, ma'am.
Firstly, iminium ion will form. Then after deprotonation, it will form enamine. Correct. This is correct. Then base will take the proton alpha to the carbonyl, and then enolate will generate. So you will get this. Then it will react with trimethylsilyl chloride. Chloride will leave, and you will get enol TMS. Is there are they right, or this option is correct? They will not get this. This is not enol TMS. This double bond should be here. So this is not
Yes,
correct.
ma'am.
So the correct option is option B. In the next case, LDA, bulky base, it will take the proton from the less substituted side, and you will get this lithium enolate. And in the next case also, proton abstraction from this is Claisen ester condensation. So it will take proton from this, enolate will generate, and it will react with other this ester to form this product.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Then in this case, this is reaction of nitroalkane with ketone. Name reaction is Henry reaction. Okay. So what will happen? First, alpha proton abstraction. It will attack alpha. Sorry.
Ma'am,
Nitro,
any alpha hydroxy compound will form?
nitro.
Okay.
So this, it will take the proton. It is attacking at this carbon, and you will get this compound. Sorry, that it will take the proton, and you will get this benzene ring. Then here is nitro. This is CH2, 5-membered ring. Here is the OH. But this reaction, after dehydration through even CB mechanism, you will get this product, dehydrated product, because you are
Yes,
eating
ma'am.
the reaction. Okay. Then hybridization of nitrogen in enamine. This is your enamine. In this case, or it can be R also. What is the hybridization of nitrogen? How many bonds it is forming? 4. Hybridization is nitrogen is
Ma'am, sp2.
sp2, correct. Because nitrogen lone pair are participating in conjugation, and whenever lone pair are participating in conjugation, they are not participate in hybridization. So here nitrogen is forming 3 bonds. For corresponding to 3 bonds, hybridization is sp2. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then identify the major product p. So first is the formation of enamine. Firstly, iminium ion will form, then deprotonation. So you will get the enamine. Here this NCH3 CH3. Now other possibility you can think about is hindered enamine. But which one will undergo reaction? A or B?
Ma'am, A.
A, because that is less hindered. Less hindered means more reactive. So then it will undergo 1,4 addition with this acrolein to form the enolate, and then after protonation you will get this as the product. Firstly it will form here NCH3CH3 positive, and here you will get this, and then after hydrolysis of imine you will get ketone there, this one. Clear?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay. Then this is the last question. You have this diester and you are treating it with base. This is symmetrical. Is this symmetrical? Plane of symmetry is there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So from any side we can take
Yes,
the
ma'am.
proton. Then it will attack at this carbonyl carbon, and this ester will go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-membered ring will form. Here you have ketone and here you have ester. Again, this proton is acidic, so OET negative will take this proton, this enolate will generate. So here is this enolate and this is the ester. Then it will react with methyl iodide to form the alkylated product. Here it is methyl. Now, next step is they are using sodium hydroxide. What it will do? Ester to
Acid
acid. And then for HCl, what purpose they are using?
decarboxylation.
Decarboxylation. So you will get this product.
Option B.
Option B. Clear?
Clear, ma'am.
That's it for today. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, we were informed that there will be MCQ pattern for this examination. Ma'am,
Examination. Yeah, mostly questions. I think it is MCQ only.
so ma'am, it was also written that there will be essay types questions, essay type answers. Ma'am, what is that?
Essay type question means you have given a sequence of reactions, and then you have to find out whether what is A, what is B. But in some of the reactions you are not given uh, the formula of the compound, that you have to find out on your own.
So it is not the typing one, no? Essay type,
No. You have to, like, A and B,
multiple
everything is given.
choice. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am.
it's all right.
Thank you, ma'am. Wishing you a happy Teachers' Day.
Thank you.